The last slide under rhyme is assonance. Let us see how assonance look like. These are the examples again that I have taken from the text. Read with me. His acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy. Which sound is the same here? That's right. You are awesome. You have the ing and it sounds like ing. Ing. We have being, muling, puking, whining. Are they consonant? Do we hear a consonant sound here? What do we hear? We are now hearing a vowel sound. The ing is a vowel sound. We are no longer talking about a consonant sound, but we are talking about of vowel sound. Now, I want you to look back at the text that we have. I'll give you enough time to look for it. Look for a vowel sound which we could find from the text. Ready? Go. All right. If you got this one, then you are correct. The 6th age shift into the lean and slippered pantaloon. We have 6th shift, lean, and slippered. What sound do they have? Correct. They have the E sound, and that is vowel. But you could also use the S sound there, the sh sound there, and the S sound there. But they don't have the same sound because that's S. The other one is sh, and the other one is sl. So we could not consider that as alliteration, but more of an assonance because of the E sound from 6th shift into lean and slippered. Another. If you got this, then you are right. You have nose and hose. Nose and hose. That's right. That is a vowel sound. An O sound. Now, what do we mean by assonance? If we have a vowel sound, what do we mean? Assonance. Who can define it? Good job. Now, here is our common definition of assonance. Assonance is the rhyming of vowel sound. Assonance is the rhyming of vowel sound. Get it? It's easy, right? Aside from rhyme, which is an alliteration, a consonance, and an assonance, we have another type of sound device. And that is what we call onomatopoeia. O-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-O-I-E-A. Onomatopoeia. Excellent. So, what is an onomatopoeia? This is the natural sound produced by a person or an animal or a thing. So we have kablung, we have blug, we have splush. Okay, those are sounds that were created by a thing or maybe of an object. Now here are the example taken from the text. Mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. You hear it right. These are the sounds of a baby when they are crying or when they are vomiting. Another example that we have is, and then the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail. The sound here of a boy who doesn't want to go to school is they whine. So whining schoolboy. This is an example of an onomatopoeia. Now, to give you a more detailed understanding of that, let me give you my own example. Example, listen carefully. The angry waves roar. The angry waves roar. The word roar is a sound made by the wave, meaning when the waves are big, it produces a crushing sound like a roar. Another example. The dry leaves under my feet are crackling. The dry leaves under my feet are crackling. The onomatopoeia there is crackling. Another example. Bow wow, the dogs bark. Bow wow, the dogs bark. The onomatopoeia is excellent. You are getting awesome. Let's have another one. I can hear the loud boom of the thunder. I can hear the loud boom of the thunder. The onomatopoeia there is correct. Boom. Do you understand now what is an onomatopoeia? Okay then. Do you have any more questions? Well done. So here are some examples taken from the text. Sighing like a furnace, pipes and whistles in his voice. So this is the sound made by lovers. When you sigh, like so that is sighing. Pipes and whistles in his voice. This is the sound made by an old man if his manly voice turned into a thin like pipe and whistles. He doesn't have any more of the manly voice that he was producing when he was still young. But when he grows old, his voice changed into like a whistles. And the last one is repetition. This is the easiest of all. It is called repetition. Repeat after me. Repetition. Look at the example. Sun's teeth, sun's eyes, sun's taste, sun's everything. It was repeated 4 times in one line. Just like in the song, Happy Birthday. Let me sing it to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday was repeated 5 times. And that's an example of a repetition. So how do we define repetition? Repetition is the use of the same word in the poem, in a song, or any literary works. Again, repetition is the use of the same word in the poem, song, or any literary work. Easy? Now, those are all the things that we have understand with regards to how we could analyze literary, as well as understanding of oneself using the literary. Now, in generalization or in our abstraction, we're going to generalize what we have learned by answering these questions. How do you discover yourself using the text, All the World's a Stage? who can give me an answer to that? Awesome. We could understand ourselves through the text by telling that we are no longer infant, we are no longer toddler, but we are not yet the childish, this childish, we are no longer in second childishness. We are not yet in the oblivion stage. We are not yet very old, but we are at the stage where we are so in love with ourselves, we are so in love with others, and we are attracted to somebody else, especially to the opposite sex. So most of you are into the lover stage. Maybe some of you are still whining schoolboy, but hopefully it will end at that. So let's have another question. Were you able to analyze the text using literary devices? Yeah, we were able to analyze the literary text using literary devices because we were able to differentiate what is rhyme, what is onomatopoeia, and what is repetition. And from that, we were able to appreciate the literary text, particularly All the World's a Stage, written by William Shakespeare. And that helps us also in understanding how we as a person and how we as a lover and how we could be a good person when we become justice, when we become old, and we know how we would be when we become very, very old. And we could also look back of how we were when we were a baby and we were a toddler. Especially, we were able to remember who we are and how we did it when it was our first day in school. We all refuse to go to school. We are afraid of our teacher, or maybe we are afraid of the atmosphere that is very new to us. So that's how we were able to generalize the lesson that we have. And for that, let us have some applications. This will find out if you really understood our lesson. Please read the direction or the directions. Use the given sound device and the picture to write a sentence about yourself. Again, you're going to use the given sound device and the picture to write a sentence about yourself. So this picture is not just a baby. This is you when you were a baby. Okay? And what you did when you were a baby, you mule and you puke. So that is an example of onomatopoeia. And this is going to be you when you age like 40 or 50. So what do you see yourself? Or how do you see yourself? You could be a person with wise sauce and modern instances. So that is an example of consonants. Okay? I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. Okay, let's say 5 minutes had passed. Let's move on to the last slide. Okay, second to the last slide. And this is going to be our assessment. Please read the directions. Okay, so this time you will be using the literary device that you have learned. But you will be using it in order for you to compose a poem or write a letter or even write a song about yourself. Can you do it? You should not be writing the whole song, or you should not be writing the entire poem, or just a simple letter for that activity. But don't forget to use any of the literary device. It's not necessary that you have to use all of those literary devices that we have learned. You could only choose one if you like. But if you could use at least two, then it's much better. Good luck! Now, how are you going to submit it to me? What you're going to do is to write it in a piece of paper and then take a picture of that and then send it to me in our GC. Or you could just directly write your answer in our messenger or in a group chat and then send it to me. Okay, will it be fine? Okay, that will be our agreement. And for the last slide, what you have to do is to look for at least 3 examples of rhyme, 3 examples of onomatopoeia, and 3 examples of repetition. So all in all, you will be giving me like 15, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yeah. You are going to give me 15 examples using rhyme, onomatopoeia, and repetition. Again, 3 from each. Since rhyme has 3 types, so that would be 9. Onomatopoeia will be 3 and repetition will be 3, so that makes it 15. Write it again in your lecture notebook, picture it, and then send it to our group chat. So that will be all for today, and I hope you learned much about literary devices, William Shakespeare, and also the literary text that we have studied, All the World's Stage. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.